What is up, WrestleCore family? We are fresh off a transatlantic excursion that saw the WWE shake the foundations of both London and Belfast. A legendary career hangs by a thread. A mentor snaps in the most brutal betrayal we've seen in years. And a terrifying legitimate stoppage brings Raw to a screeching halt. Ladies and gentlemen, we just survived one of the most volatile weekends in WWE history. From the hostile streets of Belfast to the electric tension of London, the road to the Royal Rumble just turned into a demolition derby. Is AJ Styles actually retiring? Did we just watch Javon Evans' meteoric rise crash and burn with a real injury? And why is the entire Bloodline suddenly looking over their shoulders at the shadows? We are breaking down every angle, every botch, and every masterclass in storytelling. You are locked into the pulse of pro wrestling. You are watching WrestleCore. What is going on, WrestleCore family? Welcome back to the deep dive. I'm your host, and if you're still recovering from that emotional roller coaster of a main event in Belfast, you are not alone. Monday Night Raw just changed the landscape for WrestleMania, and we need to talk about it. But before we dissect the carnage, do me a favor. If you love wrestling deep dives that respect your intelligence, crush that like button like Gunther crushes hope. Subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a beat of our coverage. We're pushing for 100K subs this month, and we can't do it without you. No? Let's get to the headlines. We have to start with the most concerning moment of the night, and unfortunately, it wasn't part of the script. In a match that was supposed to be a showcase for the young OG, Javon Evans took on the rebranded El Grande Americano. The match was moving at a lightning pace, exactly what you'd expect from Evans. But look at the springboard spot. Evans goes for the cutter, a move he's hit 1,000 times. But on the landing, his shoulder jams awkwardly into the mat. The sell here didn't look like selling. It looked like panic. When we came back from the commercial break, the match was immediately waved off. Referee Jessica Carr threw up the X almost instantly. Now, for the uninitiated, we often see worked-in juries in this era to set up angles, but the body language here tells a different story. We saw the ringside physician immediately communicating with gorilla position, and Evans was escorted out not playing to the crowd, but clutching his arm in frustration. Reports coming out of Belfast this morning suggest a possible AC joint separation or a severe stinger. If this is legitimate, and it certainly looks like it, this is a tragedy for Evans, who was rumored to have a breakout performance scheduled for the Royal Rumble. We're sending our best to the young OG. In this business, timing is everything, and this is the heartbreak of pro wrestling. You can have the world in your palm 1 second and be staring at a 6-month rehab the next. From physical pain to emotional damage. We need to talk about Natalya. For months, the Dungeon Dolls pairing of Natalya and Maxxine Dupri has been one of the most wholesome, surprisingly effective acts on Raw. We've seen the training vignettes, the Rocky-style montages. It felt like Natty was finally passing the torch. Well, tonight she didn't pass the torch, she burned a house down. During Maxxine's Intercontinental title challenge against Becky Lynch, Maxxine had the champion beat. This was it, the moment. But Natty didn't cheer. She slid Becky's foot onto the rope. It was subtle, malicious, and perfect. Post-match, we didn't get an explanation. We got an execution. The clothesline Natty delivered looked stiff, reminiscent of her Uncle Brett's execution in his prime. This isn't the smiling veteran Natalya we've seen for 5 years. This was the debut of the Natty Neidhart persona the dirt sheets have been whispering about. No cat ears, no dancing, just a bitter, dangerous shooter from the Heart Dungeon. This is the best thing that could happen to both women. Maxxine now has a sympathetic babyface fire to chase, and Natalya finally gets to shed the mom of the locker room skin to remind everyone she can technically out-wrestle 99% of the roster. The Queen of Hearts is dead. Long live Natty Neidhart. If you want another shot, you have to put it all on the table. Gunther versus AJ Styles. We knew it was going to be a banger. But the stakes just skyrocketed into the stratosphere. After losing a controversial match earlier this month, AJ Styles demanded a rematch. Gunther, ever the ring general, denied him. Until Styles offered the only thing he has left, his career. Let's look at the film study here. This is classic storytelling structure, the old Yeller arc. We saw it with Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair. We saw it with Michaels and The Undertaker. Now, we are seeing it with a phenomenal one. There is a genuine fear in the fanbase right now. Styles has been open about his contract status and his desire to be a present father. When a wrestler of AJ's caliber starts talking about one last run and puts the boots in the middle of the ring, you have to listen. If this match happens at the Rumble or WrestleMania, are we emotionally prepared to say goodbye to AJ Styles? Gunther is the perfect executioner for this role. He doesn't do respect spots. He doesn't do hugs after the bell. If AJ Styles loses, Gunther will simply step over him and move on. That creates a tension we haven't felt in a non-title feud in a long, long time. Is the phenomenal era coming to an end? Speaking of tension, let's go to the main event. CM Punk versus Finn Balor for the World Heavyweight Championship. In Belfast, WWE took a massive risk here, booking Punk to go over Balor in what is effectively his home territory is nuclear heat territory. The crowd was 90-10 for Finn. Every strike Finn landed sounded like a cannon shot because 10,000 people were screaming with him. But here is where Punk shines. He didn't fight the crowd, he surfed it. He slowed the pace down every time Finn got momentum. It's old-school, tedious heel work designed to suck the air out of the building. The finish, the GTS out of nowhere, was clean, and the silence in Belfast was deafening. But here is the key takeaway. Post-match, Punk didn't gloat. He offered a handshake. It was a rare moment of code of honor Punk. Is this a sign that Punk is moving back toward a tweener role for the Rumble season? Or was it just a momentary lapse of ego before he runs into his next challenger? Either way, Punk survives Belfast, but the target on his back is getting bigger. Let's rewind to Friday night SmackDown in London. If you thought Punk had heat, look at Drew McIntyre. The Scottish psychopath returned to the UK, not as the conquering hero, but as the bitter, resentful champion who hates the fans for abandoning him. His promo work here was masterclass gaslighting. He told the London crowd to screw themselves for cheering for CM Punk over him for the last year. He brought up Clash at the Castle. He brought up the sing-alongs. He weaponized their love against them. This is the final form of Drew McIntyre. He isn't trying to be cool anymore. He wants to be right. And nothing is more annoying or effective than a villain who makes valid points. When Randy Orton interrupted him, the pop was astronomical. Why? Because Orton doesn't care about being right. He just wants to hit the RKO. We are barreling toward McIntyre versus Orton, and the dynamic is perfect. The neurotic, obsessed champion versus the chaotic, unbothered Viper. Did you catch the Easter egg on SmackDown? During Solo Sikoa's backstage segment, look at the monitor in the background. That's static? That's the Wyatt Sicks logo. We've heard rumors for weeks, but this is the first concrete proof. The Wyatt Sicks are targeting the Bloodline. Stylistically, this is fascinating. The Bloodline is grounded in reality, family, hierarchy, belts. The Wyatt Sicks are grounded in surrealism and horror. It's matter versus antimatter. Uncle Howdy targeting the tribal chief makes narrative sense. The Bloodline is built on toxicity and manipulation, the very things Howdy claims to cleanse. If we get a Wyatt Sicks versus Bloodline faction war, it's going to be absolute chaos. Imagine Jacob Fatu versus Eric Rowan, or Bo Dallas playing mind games with impulsive Solo. This isn't just a feud. It's a collision of genres. We can't ignore the rise of Trick Williams. On SmackDown, he defeated the indie god Matt Cardona in a match that proved Trick is ready for the main event scene. Cardona is no slouch. He's a veteran who knows how to make guys look like $1,000,000. But Trick has it. The charisma is undeniable, but his in-ring work has finally caught up to his entrance music. Beating Cardona cleanly puts Trick in a conversation for a mid-card title run immediately. WWE is clearly strapping the rocket to him. With the Rumble coming up, don't be shocked if Trick Williams is the Iron Man of the match this year. The stock is only going up. Back to Raw. Becky Lynch, the man. She retained the Women's Intercontinental Championship, but at what cost? She took a beating from Maxxine Dupri, who looked fantastic, by the way. Becky is currently doing the fighting champion work that made us fall in love with her in 2018. She's elevating that mid-card belt to main event status. But with Natalya turning heel, Becky had a new, dangerous challenger. Natalya knows every hold Becky knows. She trained in the same dungeon system. This isn't about star power. This is going to be a technical wrestling clinic. Becky looks unstoppable right now, but a motivated, heel Natalya is the one kryptonite she might not be ready for. The American Nightmare has officially declared. Cody Rhodes is in the Royal Rumble. Now, the math is against him. No one has won 3 in a row in the modern era like this. But Cody's story is eternal. He isn't champion right now, and the path to the gold goes through 29 other men. The interesting wrinkle: he didn't say which champion he's targeting. With The Rock returning, with Roman lurking, and with McIntyre holding the WWE title hostage, Cody is the wild card. His declaration shifts the betting odds immediately. Is he going to finish the story part 2? Or is he there to stop someone else from starting theirs? And finally, The stare-down heard round the world. Randy Orton, Jacob Fatu. We saw it briefly on SmackDown. The Apex Predator versus the Samoan Werewolf. This is a dream match we didn't know we needed until we saw them in the same frame. Fatu was perhaps the only person on a roster who matches Orton's natural, scary intensity. Orton didn't flinch. Fatu didn't blink. If WWE pulls the trigger on this singles match, it's going to be a bloodbath. Orton is arguably doing the best work of his career as the grizzled veteran, and Fatu needs a marquee win to solidify himself as a main event solo act. Keep your eyes on this. If they cross paths in the Rumble, the building might actually explode. So let's recap the damage. AJ Styles might be retiring. Natalya has gone rogue. The Wyatt Sicks are hunting the Bloodline. And Javon Evans might be out of action. It was a week of high stakes and higher consequences. The road to WrestleMania isn't paved with gold this year. It's paved with bad intentions. I want to hear from you. The question of the day is this. If AJ Styles loses to Gunther, do you think he actually retires? Or is this just a storyline swerve? Let me know in the comments down below. I read every single one. If you enjoy this breakdown, destroy that like button, share this video with your wrestling group chat, and make sure you are subscribed to WWE. We are bringing you the best analysis in the game every single week. Until next time, keep your head on a swivel, because in this business, you never know who's turning next. I'm out. Peace.